All right, guys, so big news out of Buffalo. The Bills trade for Corey Graham. And if you guys watched Brandon Beane's press conference today, he said they're always looking for speed. So I think that that's something that they achieved with this trade. 2020 7th round draft pick. It's basically taking a gamble on a guy who's kind of a castaway in Cleveland. You know, he's buried in the depth chart behind Jarvis Landry and Josh Gordon, and they got Njoku, and a running back led the team in receptions last year. So it'll be interesting to see what that does to some of the other guys that were kind of hopefuls in camp. The undrafted, Robert Foster. You got, what's up, Papa? What's up, Andrew? The Bills took a flyer in the 6th round on Ray McCloud. They also drafted Austin Prohl, who has a good pedigree. His dad was in the league for an extremely long time and played, not for Sean McDermott, but with Sean McDermott when he was with the Carolina Panthers. So it'll be interesting. I think the Bills finally got a speed guy, a guy that they have desperately needed to have. We have the Rod Streeters and the Robert Fosters, but are those guys going to make the team? Foster's had some drop issues here recently. Rod Streeter's coming back off that injury, that nasty injury last year, so he's a question mark. And if you watched any of Brandon Beane's press conference, he was asked several times, well, what does this mean? Does this mean that you don't have the depth that you thought you had, going into the first preseason game? And he said, well, we're always looking to add talent. So with that being said, he's a man of his words. I know that back in the spring, there was some talks, before the draft that Corey Coleman was going to be expendable with the Cleveland Browns. And he did become expendable, obviously, because the Bills landed him yesterday. Let me take some comments here. Yeah, Brandon Riley. Yeah, I agree. Brandon Riley is one of those guys. I think it's a make it or break it year. I think that last year, he made the squad. He was on the practice squad up until, about week 11 or 12, when Jordan Matthews was put on IR. But he didn't see any playing time in any games. So, things coming out of camp saying, that he's doing extremely well. He's been running with the ones. So it'll be interesting to see in these preseason games who he's matched up with, as far as if he's getting time with the 1s, 2s, or 3s. What's up, King K? Corey Coleman is going to be our number 2, number 3, most likely. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, and the good thing is that I feel like the kid's going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Like he's going to come in here and he's going to try to prove that he belongs in this league, and he is a first-round draft pick, and it'll be exciting. And needless to say, he's going to come and he's going to push these other guys, and he's going to push these guys that are roster bubble guys maybe to work a little bit harder, grind it out a little bit harder. Maybe he's going to make Zay Jones work a little bit harder. It's going to be extremely interesting to see. Not sure if he's going to be playing on Thursday or not. Brandon Beane was asked in his press conference if he was going to play. He still had to come in today and pass his physical. If you guys have seen anything on social media, he posted something on his IG page and his Twitter page saying that he's got shit to prove. So he wants to get back, he wants to grind, and he wants to get a spot on the roster. What's up, Quavo? How has Ray looked? I haven't seen anything on him. Well, Ray looked really good in the beginning of camp. In the last week or so, it looks like he's having a little bit of trouble with the playbook. If you've seen any of the footage coming out of any of the preseason, any of the training camp videos, or even the scrimmage that they had this past weekend, he's having issues where he should be lining up, and you can see the quarterbacks kind of tell him, hey, get over here, or you're supposed to be over there, or move in. But I think he's interesting because I think that if you get him in space, he's quick and he's elusive, and that just to me screams, kickoff and punt returns. And with the new rules on the kickoff return, I think that'll be very beneficial to have him back there, a guy who's really fast and he's good in space. Quavo says 2021 7th round pick for Antonio Brown. I don't know where you're going with that. Let me scroll up on these comments. This, if you guys are familiar with Buffalo Fanatics, we're trying a new platform here, so this is kind of the first go at it. So kind of bear with me as I'm getting through some of these comments and stuff. They're kind of coming in pretty quick. King Cake says, hope Corey Coleman has a bounce back year. Yeah, me too. I mean, the guy missed 13 games in 2 seasons. He broke his hand in 2016, and he broke the same hand in 2017. So, you know, he has something to prove. You know, he was selected in the first round. He was part of the trade with the Eagles. Well, he was drafted after the Browns traded down with the Eagles, and the Eagles subsequently took Carson Wentz. So that's a little bit of irony right there. But yeah, he's a first round talent. You know, 4.37 speed in you know, in the 40 on his pro day. The good thing is that it seems like he still has his quickness. He still has the bounce in his step. Now we just need to get him in here, and we need to get him to learn the playbook. So that's where that's at. But I feel like if you look down the depth chart behind KB, okay, who's your number 1? Your number 2, I think they still give a shot, you know, to Zay Jones at number 2. You don't catch 399 passes in college if you don't have good hands. So maybe he'll have a bounce back year. And then Curley, I think, is going to be a surprise in the slot. And then 4, you got Coleman. So I think if that's your first 4, these last 5, 6, 7 guys, you know, the Cam Phillips, the Robert Fosters, the Brandon Rileys, the Rod Streeters, you know, on and on and on, Ray McLeods, I can go on and on and on. It's going to be, you know, till death do us part. I mean, there's only so many spots, and are the Bills going to carry 7 or 8 wide receivers into the regular season? I highly doubt it. 6 maybe, and that's including some return guys. So a couple things on Corey Coleman to get kind of back full circle here. A couple things on Corey Coleman. You know, he went to Baylor, had a really good career in Baylor. First round pick, 5'11", you know, he's 185. He's not a huge guy, but like I said, 4.37 speed, so he's quick in the 40. Really good route runner. You know, if you look at his 2 seasons, you know, he's played 19 games, he's missed 13 games. So if he's played 19 games, it averages out, if he plays a full season, to about 50 catches, 700 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns, which is a good number 3 or 4 on any team. And looking now at the 4 that we have, you know, it's a lot more impressive than the 4 I believe that we had last year. You know, Zay was a rookie last year. We didn't have KB till the trade deadline. You know, I mean, Matthews was always hurt. So, you know, I think they did a great job. And Bean actually, it may have taken him a little time, but I think he's finally getting to the point where he's realizing that we have a quarterback competition. You know, whichever quarterback, you know, they choose to go with, they need receivers that can get the ball, can get open, can get down the field. Because if you throw a rookie like Josh Allen in there and he doesn't have a deep threat, and that's his bread and butter, you know, he may struggle. You know, you throw A.J. McCarron in there and you have, you know, not the best 4 that we have right now, but you don't add a Corey Coleman to, you know, to go over the top, then he may struggle. But just looking back on the 2 years that Corey Coleman spent in Cleveland, you know, he had the Cody Kesslers and the Deshaun Kaisers and the RG3s and the Kevin Hogans and the Josh McCowns. He hasn't had that go-to, you know, franchise quarterback. So that's going to be interesting to see. He comes in with a chip on his shoulder, and he's going to earn everything. Like Brandon Beane said, he's going to come in here and compete. He's not guaranteed a roster spot. He's going to have to work for everything that he's given. So let me take a couple of these. Let's scroll through these real quick. Andrew, thank you. Say keep up the good work. Playoffs 2 years in a row. I definitely think that's doable. Although the AFC East has gotten pretty tough this year. I think everybody's improved there. Johnny, I'm sorry about your last name. Nepik Klosser. Should we take Malcolm Mitchell? I think we're good at this point. I don't see them adding any more pieces on offense at this point unless there's just something that comes across, somebody gets released in preseason that it's a great deal, but I really don't see them adding unless there's an injury. I really don't see them adding anything else on offense. Who do I think will be starting Thursday at quarterback? King Cake. I honestly think that A.J. McCarron's going to start on Thursday. I just think that from everything that's been the way that training camp has played out, Allen's been getting a lot of time with the threes. McCarron and Peterman have been rotating in with the ones. I just think that's how it's going to go down. Now, I don't think that means that he's going to be our starting quarterback day one. I just think he's the more NFL ready, seasoned, if you want to call it seasoned, quarterback to go into your first preseason game with a new offensive coordinator. Who would I like to see? I'd like to see Josh Allen, but I think that eventually that's going to happen. At some point, Josh Allen's going to start this year. My opinion is he should start week 1, but I'm going to save that's a different topic for a different day because I want to keep on, the news of the Bills making a trade. Let's see. Let's get through some more of these comments. Okay, so Andre Holmes. So that was going to be a part of my... I'm glad you brought that up. Let's see who that was. That was Mr. Respect. Andre Holmes, I think, is the guy that's the odd man out here, and here's why. Okay, he signed a 3-year contract, a little over $5 million, right? Doesn't seem like much, right? But last year, he spent the majority of the second half of the season on special teams. After the first 3 or 4 games, he was very non-existent on offense. He finished the season. He played well on special teams. I mean, McDermott always said that last year, when he was talking about special teams, he talked about how he was a big part of it. But I honestly think that Foster makes the practice squad. I think that Cam Phillips makes the practice squad. I think that Ray makes the team. I think that Brandon Riley makes the team. And I think that Austin Proehl, practice squad. And I think that Andre Holmes is the guy that's the odd man out, and he's going to get cut. And he'll probably get picked up by someone else. But I just don't see anything special about what he does that any of these other guys can't do. Because if you are slated to be the number 3, and sorry guys, let me fix this real quick. There's a little technical difficulties here. If you're slated to be the number 3 like he was last year, he finished the season on special teams. So his stock's not rising. I haven't seen anything come out of camp saying that he's grinding, he's crushing these routes, he's catching balls, he's doing anything spectacular. So I think Holmes is going to be the odd man out. What's up, Logan? What's going on? Or your username, Yo Mama Jr. Andrew McCarron, I think Nathan and Josh. If we're still talking about who's going to start on Thursday, I still think it's McCarron. I think that's the guy. It's the safe bet for the first game. He's actually got regular season experience, the most out of any of the 3. So Andrew says AJ will get most of third game and some of every other games. Well, if he's getting most of the snaps and most of the reps in the third game, that's typically where your starters play the majority of preseason is in the third game, right? So then you must be thinking that AJ is going to start. So that's an interesting point. I'm not completely sold on AJ McCarron yet. And if you guys are wondering why I'm scrolling the comments, because we're live on Twitter and on YouTube, so the comments overlap. So I have to kind of scroll back and forth to see them. So I apologize for my scrolling. Yeah, Quavo brings up a really good point. And that's one I was kind of alluding to earlier is his numbers, we're talking about Corey Coleman, his numbers weren't bad. Look at the quarterbacks he played with. There was no consistency with DeShone Kizer. There was no consistency with Hogan. There was no consistency with Kessler. There was no consistency with McCown. I mean, McCown's not bad. I mean, McCown, as everybody knows, is a great mentor. And then you sprinkle in RG3 in there. But what potential does he have if he plays a 16-game season? You know, I don't like to do what-ifs, but what if he played the whole season? We really don't know. He started out 2016, his rookie season. He started out really well. He had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Ravens. So, you know, we'll see. It's yet to be determined, but I think he has a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's going to come in here with something to prove, and he's going to work his ass off, and he's going to make this team, and I think he's going to make a nice impact on the offense. Scrolling through, Andrew. All right, so Andrew brings up a good point, and I'm going to circle back to Corey Coleman. I didn't want to get off tangent too much here, but it's kind of all relevant because we're going to talk about the person who's going to throw him the ball. So, who do you think the Bills will be starting week 1? And that's from Andrew. I honestly think the Bills are going to start. The Bills are going to start AJ McCarron. Who do I want them to start? I want them to start Josh Allen. I can go off for 30 minutes on why we should start Josh Allen, but just to answer your question, I think the Bills are going to start AJ McCarron because I think they're going to play it safe. Now, do I think AJ McCarron, unless he comes in, balls out, and we just are lights out the first 6-8 games, I think we'll see Josh Allen at some point this season under center starting a game. This obviously barring injuries and so forth. I just think that he has the most experience. Granted, it's few and far between, but he has the most experience. It's a safe choice. I think that they're not trying to rush Allen along, which you can take it as good or bad. They're trying to play it safe as part of the process. They're trying to play it safe, and I just think it's going to be a little bit before we see Josh Allen, which I have a different take on that, but we're talking about Corey Coleman, so we'll keep it at that. Jim Parker says, I bet my bottom dollar it's McCarron. You might be right. You might win $1. Buffalo Fanatics, what's good? Let me get through these comments. There's a lot. All right, so Andrew says, don't sleep on Peterman. You should talk to Rico. You guys would get along great because that's Rico's boy. Papa Van says, every time someone says Josh Allen will eventually start, irritates me because it sounds like we're assuming we'll have a terrible start. No, I just think, and it's tough to say, well, we have a tough schedule because it's the NFL and things change from week to week, and it's nice to be optimistic and say that, we're going to go 6-2 in our first 8 games under AJ McCarron. But you have to realize it's a week-to-week situation, and AJ might come in and light things up, but AJ might also come in and just not be good. So, again, I just have a feeling, and this is just me, it's just my opinion, watching as much football as I have over the years, I think he's going to play at some point this year because are we going to get everything that we got last year as far as the defense getting the turnovers and all that? Some of the lucky bounces that we got last year, we don't know. That's why I said it's week to week. So we'll see. I mean, I hope that whoever comes in and starts gets us to the playoffs. It's clear and it's cut and dry. It's that simple. I think that's what everybody wants. Do I want it to be Josh Allen? Yeah, because I know what we gave up to get him. So we gave away a lot to get him, and we finally need a guy. We don't need a cast off from another team. So the only thing about AJ that concerns me, not to get too far off topic, guys, so the only thing that concerns me about AJ is he was the last free agent quarterback to be signed by any team, and it was for a lot less than all the other guys went for. We gave him $5 million. So, I mean, maybe he proves everybody wrong and he comes in and he's lights out, but my opinion is that we see Josh Allen sometime this year. All right, let's get through these. Andre Holmes is trade bait. That's possible. I don't know what you get for an Andre Holmes if we just got Corey Coleman, a first-round draft pick, for a 7th-round pick in 2020. So that's possible. We do have a hard schedule. It is It is a very tough schedule to start the season. Let's get through. God, you guys are blowing this up. Love it. So we have Ambush Ninja. I like that name. It says, I'm a Bills fan, and I'm wondering what you think our record's going to be. I'm not a big predictions guy, but I would go 9-7, 8-8, 9-7, around there. I just think that with all the new working parts that we have in place, you know, we still have some consistencies. Our secondary, I believe, is top 5. Okay. I do believe that our offensive line is not as bad as everybody's saying it is. I think that they have something to prove. We still have Shady on the back end. We upgraded to get Chris when we got Chris Ivory over the Toldozer. So, I mean, we do have some good things, but we also have a new offensive coordinator, right? We revamped the defensive line. The playbook for offense is going to be just completely lights out, ridiculous compared to what it was, and simple and as predetermined as it was last year. So I think there's going to be a lot at stake, and I just don't see us just being lights out. I see 8-8, 9-7, a couple bounces here and there, and maybe 10-6. All right, I'll take a couple more of these guys, and then we'll circle back to Corey Coleman because I didn't want to get too far off a topic. Yeah, we can have a decent start. We do have some road games that kind of concern me. All right, guys, so this is the first episode. There's going to be a bunch more. Just wanted to come on here real quick and try out this multi-platform live feed that we got going on. I'll try to check all your comments afterwards, and I'll try to respond to as much as possible. If you guys could share this, that would be really awesome. Hit the thumbs up. That'd be really cool. We're going to get more in-depth once the season starts. I'll probably jump on here after the first game on Thursday. I just wanted to you know, do a dry run and see how this works out, and I love that everybody came on. I mean, we had up to 25 viewers at one point, and I know it's super late on the East Coast. I'm in California, if you guys are wondering, so it's not that late here yet. But a couple things, want to give a couple shout outs to everybody knows Pierre Kingpin. Much respect to him to giving me the platform to do this. Rico, the franchise, had an amazing interview today with Aaron Williams. If you guys didn't see it, you guys should check it out. It's on the Fanatics Twitter and Facebook. It'll probably be on YouTube, so you guys will be able to check that out. I always got to give love to my brother from another mother and father, Akeem A. Rich. That's my boy. Bobby B, for all the behind-the-scenes stuff that he does for Fanatics to keep it running. And a couple things too. Make sure you guys check out the Buffalo Fanatics on Instagram. It's the #1 go-to spot for all Bills updates, info, pictures, videos, news, all that stuff. The amazing job that Fanatics do on Instagram. So you guys need to check that out. Make sure you also subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're getting upwards to almost 4,000 followers right now, or 4,000 subscribers right now. So keep that going. You guys will get all the updates and all the notifications when there's something live like this, or when there's, you know, pre-recorded videos and stuff like that. All kinds of cool Bills content. And then also follow the Fanatics on Twitter. It's going to be, I'll have some more info in the description. But follow me on Twitter. It's D Myers DM3. So you guys can go on there and follow the Buffalo Fanatics on Twitter as well. And I thank you guys for being here. I will be back this week. I'll be back a lot, so you guys will be seeing me. Love all the support.